Hello everyone, welcome back to UPSC Warriors channel by Unacademy. This is Soundarya. I hope everything is fine at your end, but I'm so sorry for posting this 14th December 2024 MCQs a bit late because I was not well. So without much delay, let's get into the topic now. And these are the two important topics that you must, do as far as your prelims is concerned, because definitely we are going to have a question from this. If you go through previous year question paper, you would be able to appreciate that the tax, the treaties and the different types of bilateral agreements, especially those which are concerned with WTO, trade principles, etc., are always very important, right? So without much delay, let's begin the discussion now. So the first article from which we have the MCQ is about that is Switzerland recently revoked the most favored nation status that it granted to India. So let's try to find out what is mean by double taxation avoidance agreement and what is mean by MFN and what are the important principles of WTO and how to understand this DTAA and the issues that are currently revolving around this particular topic. So let's begin with the first question now. With reference to the double taxation avoidance agreement, consider the following statements. So the question is about DTAA. So the country of residence, give more importance to the key terms that you find in the statement here. The country of residence where the individual, this is about individual, lives has the initial taxing right than the country of registration. So we know that double taxation avoidance agreement is a tax agreement between two countries where the individual is residing and also earning income. So if a person or an individual is residing in one country and earning income from the another country, he or she should not be subjected to paying tax twice, right? To the home country as well as to the country where he is getting income from. And the country from here he is getting income from is called as country of registration, and the country where he is having his main residence is called as home country, right? So the initial country which has the right to levy tax is the country where the residence is there. So this is what is mean by the statement 1. And statement 2 says individual has to pay tax in only one country under DTAA. Is this true? So read the statement very carefully. Under double taxation avoidance agreement, we say that this agreement enables an individual to avoid paying taxes twice. But does it mean the individual has to pay tax only in one country? So what do you think? So what would be the correct answer here? The correct answer is option A only. Statement 2 is incorrect. Why? So let's try to understand this here now by understanding what is mean by DTAA and how it works. As I already told you, if a person is residing in one country, okay, say for example this is India, so an individual who is residing in India is earning income from country A as well as country B, okay? So this income can be anything, either the income that he has generated by renting out a property, the income that he or she has generated by delivering a particular type of service or whatsoever it is. So these are the different types of income that a person can get from the other country. It can be rent, it can be wages or salary, it can be royalty, it can be profit or anything. In that case, if India is taxing the person at the rate of 37%, for the income that he has generated worldwide, okay, not just in India but also from the income that he has generated across the world, that can be called as what? Foreign income. So understand this clearly. I am giving you an example so as to help you understand how this DTAA works, and there are so many myths that revolve around this DTAA saying you have to pay tax only at one country. So there is no such special provision unless and until it is specifically designed in the treaty, because there are so many things that you have to take care of while understanding DTAA. So if a person residing in India is taxed at the rate of 37% for the foreign income, then if the person is earning income, maybe a type of rent, or it can be a type of salary or profit or whatever it is, okay, so this is the income that he has generated from this particular country, that is the country of registration. Now, this particular country is also imposing a tax on these income that the person generated from this country, say at the rate of 10%. So if this country A is taxing him 10% on these amounts that he generated by registering or having some economic activities in the country, and if India is taxing 37% of the entire income that he generated, which also includes this income, then the person is paying tax for this particular income twice, right? So this is called as paying tax twice. In order to avoid double tax under DTAA, if the country A and if the India is having double taxation avoidance agreement between them, in that case the person will be asked to pay tax not at the rate of 37% but at the rate of 27%. That is 37% minus the 10% tax that he will be paying to the country A. Is that clear? So what is happening here? The 37% tax is actually to the home country, but since she has already paid 10% tax to the country A, we have to subtract that, and now the person will be charged to pay only 27% of the tax. Same thing applies with other countries also, where the countries are having DTAA agreement between them. Like either the person will be asked to pay 10% tax here and here 37% tax, and then he can be given some tax credits. Tax credits means what? Credits that he can avail for paying 10% tax to the other country on the same amount of income generated. So this is called as tax credit. So we have various mechanisms to reduce this burden of paying tax double times. That is called as tax credit, tax exemptions, reduced tax rates, etc. So this is how DTAA mechanism works. I hope this is very clear to you now. And then talking about the first statement says that the country of residence where the individual lives has the initial right to pay the tax. This is true, right? So because if the person is residing in one country, that will be considered as the home country, and that country will have the initial right of actually having what? Maintaining the tax right when compared with the country of registration. So and then this income is chargeable to tax in both the countries, then taxes paid in one country will be allowed as a credit to the taxes that are paid in the another country. So this is how DTAA works. I explained it very briefly, and so the correct answer should be option A. And now let's go to the other question, because the second question is about MFN, around which the entire issue that we face right now with Switzerland, Netherlands and the Nestle company is going to follow. So before moving to that, we have an exciting offer going on at Unacademy. That is, Unacademy is offering you 50% subscription on all the UPSC CSE courses. In addition to that, if you take 9-month subscription plan, at the end of 9 months, you will be extended another 9 months of subscription. Same thing goes with 12 months and 18 months also, but the offer is ending tonight. So without delay, get into the subscription and avail these courses, not just in English but also in Hindi medium as well as in the English medium. So we also have the optional subjects being taken, and this is the schedule of the optional courses that we have at Unacademy, and you can use my referral code RIYA50 to get further subscription or discounts. And then in addition to this, we also have this free UPSC mock interview program. So this is the high time for all of you, those who have qualified mains, to immediately join into this, and where we will be having a detailed feedback as well, with more focus on key areas of improvements. So let's get back to the topic now. So India has almost assigned 85 plus DTAA agreements with various countries, and this particular agreement can be again either a very comprehensive agreement covering different types of incomes, or it can again be limited to only the incomes generated from shipping, air transport, inheritance, etc. Again, it differs. So this is a general overview of how DTAA works, but in reality there are so many classes and so many provisions that vary from country to country, and the applications also. So let's try to understand this in this simple fashion so as to clear the examination and don't get too much into the details. So these are the different types of categories that are covered under this DTAA. Now let's move to the second important as well as interesting question. Which of the following statements are correct with reference to the most favored nation principle of WTO? See, WTO has so many principles, right? So based on which the trade agreements or the trade should be done, and these principles are generally aimed at overcoming discrimination, and not giving differential treatment to different countries, ensuring fair competition between the countries in terms of trade and etc. Right? So we will have comparative advantage, special differential treatment. So these things you will be studying under economy in detail. So MFN is one such trade principle of WTO. Read the options now. There is no requirement under MFN that the trade concession be reciprocal. Okay, India had entered into DTAAs with Netherlands, France and Switzerland, in which also has the MFN clause. Okay, so which also has MFN clause. So let's try to find out which statement is true here, which statement is false here. So before that, what is MFN? Most favored nation status is a principle, trade principle guaranteed by WTO, so that if the country is granting any kind of trade concession to another country, okay, with which the country is having DTAA, then the country should also give such trade concession to the other countries of the WTO as well. So under the most favored nation concept, if India is giving tax benefits or tax grants or tax reductions to any other country, say for example another country, Pakistan, okay, so under this MFN clause of the DTAA agreement, then this particular tax reduction should also be given to the another country. Okay, so this is what is meant by MFN. We will try to understand that in detail with an example now. So this is the meaning of MFN at the superficial level. So according to statement 1, it says that if India is giving tax benefit to country C, then it does not mean that the country C is obliged to return this tax benefit back to India. So it is not the case. So this statement is correct. Clear? And this is a very clear fact picked from the recent current affairs that India had entered into DTAs with Netherlands, Switzerland, France, etc., which has MFN clause. So not all the DTAs will have MFN clause. So certain DTAs will have MFN clause included, under which if a special concession is granted to one country, it should be given to the other countries also. Now let's try to understand this with the help of example. Here we have two countries which has trade agreement between them, and according to the trade agreement, the agreed upon price is $100 per widget, right? So this is the trade agreement which is having MFN clause in it. Okay, so in this case, if this price is agreed between party A and party C, then automatically the MFN will be triggered, by which this particular price or the concession has to be extended by party A to party B as well. So this is how MFN works. Now, where is the issue that we are currently witnessing from? The issue is around this MFN that is getting triggered, whether it is automatically getting triggered or is there any special procedural methods by which this MFN clause should be triggered, say for example issuing any notification separately or direction separately. So how this MFN is getting triggered, this is what has been an issue of contention recently. Why? Because according to the Supreme Court interprets the MFN provision in such a way that it says this particular clause cannot get automatically triggered. Again, so we know that Nestle operating in Switzerland has claimed the tax credits, but the Delhi High Court stated that okay, the tax credits can be granted because the MFN clause is triggered automatically. But the Supreme Court overruled this judgment of Delhi High Court, stating that MFN clause cannot be triggered automatically for all the countries. So what is the ruling of Supreme Court? The Supreme Court ruling is basically revolving around this question that whether the MFN clause operates automatically or necessitates a separate government notification under the Income Tax Act. As soon as the special provision or the concession is granted by a country A to country B, the MFN clause is getting triggered so that it should extend this tax concession to the other countries also, right? So this is what is the meaning of MFN. So this trade principle ensures fair treatment, this trade principle ensures prevention of discrimination, etc., right? Okay, so but the question is, should this MFN get triggered automatically, okay, immediately after A giving tax benefits or some concessions to this particular country B, or we have to come up with any special procedural methods whereby we issue a notification or issue directions, orders, etc. under the Income Tax Act. So this is the question for which the Supreme Court stated that the MFN will not be triggered automatically to all the countries. Okay, the Delhi High Court stated that it will be triggered automatically, but Supreme Court stated that it will not be triggered automatically to all the countries, but only to the countries which are members of OECD at the time of entering into DTAA agreement with India. So it states that only the countries which are the members of OECD at the time of joining into or getting into DTAA agreement with India will have the rights to MFN getting triggered automatically. But for the countries which joined into this agreement later, a special notification has to be issued under this Income Tax Act so as to have or extend this MFN clause, right? So after the Supreme Court ruling, the Switzerland stated that now we are not going to reciprocate we are not going to extend the MFN status to India because it is not reciprocated by India. Okay, so as a result of which from Jan 1, 2025, this particular MFN is not going to exist between India and Switzerland. So this is going to have a huge implication on the trade relations that we were able to maintain positively with respect to Switzerland. So this is all about the main case or the issue that we have right now. So go through this once, and here you can have the Supreme Court ruling, so which stated that it is not self-executing, okay, it is self-executing only to countries which are members of OECD at the time of joining the double taxation avoidance agreement with India. Okay, so what is the correct answer here? It is both 1 and 2 only. So this is all for today from 14th December 2024. Stay tuned with us for more updates. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.